Certainly. And so now let's spin it forward to this upcoming weekend between the Eagles and the 49ers. I personally, for one, have been waiting for this game basically since January when Brock Purdy tore his UCL. And so it's going to be a good one. Won't be on prime time because Fox really wants to keep it as America's game of the week. But let's just make some predictions. So, Kaz, as our guest, I'm going to throw it to you first. Just how are you feeling about this upcoming game in Week 13, and do you got a prediction?
Yeah, so prediction-wise, not quite yet, and there's a very good reason for that, and I'll get to that here in a second. Excitement, I'm hell of excited. I went since all the guff last season on the Niners players and obviously the fandom, went kind of crazy after the NFC Championship game, making all the excuses that we've all heard 1,001 times now. Even as of today, my boy AJ Brown already tweeted it's okay to go ahead and get on Deebo Samuel's ass. And it's it's been just pent up for so long, and I'm very happy to be 10-1 going into this game. I did have the Eagles in the early season prediction, finishing 14-3, so very comfortable. But I really, really, really want this game. I really, really want this game. I actually had us losing one at home to the Buffalo Bills, and then another game like against like New York or something after we clinch or whatever. And then I also had us losing our third game to, which we did, the Jets. But I thought it was going to be because of Aaron Rodgers. But this game here, I was talking to my Niners homies, and I was like, next year, man, there's no excuse, bro. No excuse. I pray to God Purdy's healthy. I hope that Debo's ready. I want CMC to be ready. I want it's the same thing I say to my Cowboys friends every year as well. I'm like, just be there, bro. We're gonna be there. Just make sure you're there, dog. We're not worried about you, man. So this game, I'm excited. I'm very comfortable because it is in Philly. If this was in San Fran, playing the way that we play, I mean, you guys are favored. You know what I'm saying? You guys are favored, and that's
what I'm saying.
What? Vegas don't lie, man. Vegas don't lie. Vegas always has that inside whatever, and there's a reason for that. If this was in San Fran, this is probably about a 4.5 point swing rather than 2.5 or something like that. So, it's going to be it's going to be one of those things where another grinder. I'm ready for it. This is second nature to us Eagles fans now. I'm not sweating at all. I think that prediction wise, when it comes to what we're going to see, you're going to see a lot of chippy football, a ton. You kind of saw it this last game against Buffalo. I think that's more so because of the conditions. So, I mean, Josh Allen running the ball like he did, and he hasn't really done that very successfully all season, if you were to ask me. This game, CMC is going to get his touches. Debo is going to be getting a lot of targets, a lot of touches. They're going to be trying to get those guys that were talking last year at the end of the season the ball the most. They want to make a statement. This isn't a game they're going to just show up and play regular football. It's going to be very, very chippy. Trent Williams, I mean, even the fact he got ejected, and this is war. This is an all-out war. It's going to be awesome. Prediction-wise, I'm gonna hold off on it for right now. I haven't made my prediction videos.
Come on, Cat.
I haven't.
You gotta pick somebody now.
I'll give you a very vague prediction, but
it's Monday.
We have guys who are a little banged up. That's why. And I want to make sure that I'm not giving you something and all of a sudden a game comes around. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to eat my words because I didn't know. But all in all, like Kev said earlier, man, we got Jalen Hurts under the center. If y'all ain't beating us by 14 plus, it's all day going to be the Birds, and it ain't going to happen at home. So I'm going to say the Birds win by 6. I think that Jake Elliott comes in to save the day with a couple clutch field goals. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to move the ball well, but because of our OC and our DC not being able to play 4 quarters straight or call a great game, we're not going to use DeAndre Swift the right way like we should. He's going to just average probably 12 to 14 carries like he has all season long, if even that. And it's going to be a close game because of that. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, if for some reason we finally, in week 13, come out and play a complete game, you guys have no shot. You have absolutely no shot. There is 0% chance. It's going to be about as bad as it was in the NFC Championship game, and that is with Brock Purdy because our defensive line is going to be coming.
All right, and I don't blame you, Kaz, for not wanting to make a prediction initially because you want to make an educated, informed decision, and I totally get that, and I can totally relate to that. So now, Jaevon, I'm going to toss it to you.
Oh no,
Let's
I want to
hear
know what
your.
this guy, the new house guy. I want to know what he got to say.
Oh, well, I was gonna try to mix it up. I was gonna try to mix it up back and forth.
I need to
Kevin,
know
you have the stage.
what's
Let's
on
hear
his
it.
mind. He's been quiet. I ain't really heard from him after the group chat. I ain't really heard from him. I want to know what his thoughts are.
I didn't see a tissues meme this week.
Yeah, I didn't see none of that because he know what's coming. He knows it's a big week.
So everyone, as the world knows, I'm an Eagles fan. I got Commanders fans. I got Bengals fans.
Cowboy fans.
I got Texans fans. Everybody and their mama coming for us, guys. You would have thought we was 3-4 time champs. We in the middle of a dynasty. They just say, like Jalen Hurts said, man, what you gonna say? We coming out here, we're doing our thing. Like Chaz mentioned, I believe this is going to be the game we put it all together. A lot of people have been asking me, Kevin, what are your thoughts? The defense sack numbers aren't up there. But let me tell you something. We have 102 quick pressures. What is a quick pressure, you ask? That is a pressure that's under 2.5 seconds. We lead the NFL, and it's not even close. Second highest team has 75. So people are talking about we're taking a step back. People on the offensive end are taking a step up because they know if you count to 3, you're going to look up and see the stadium. You're going to see the stadium lights. This game is going to be the game we put it all together. Jalen Hurts is going to come out here and do his thing. Let me tell you some stats from these main guys over their time in their career. Brandon Ayuk versus the Eagles. 3 games played, 4 receptions, 8 targets, 0 touchdowns. But what? I know everyone saw the picture of him jumping over the Eagles player. That was a run for his 1 touchdown. So congrats. The man who's been talking about us all summer long. Deebo Samuel, 3 games, 12 receptions, 161 yards, 50 yards per game. George Kittle, 4 games, 24 receptions, 254 yards, 1 touchdown, 64 yards a game. The new addition, the dude who had to throw the ball last game. CMC, 3 games, 8.7 yards per catch, 1 touchdown, and he's ran the ball for 129 yards for 1 touchdown. But wait, there's more. We have Skims Boy, 2 games, 5 tackles, 2 sacks.
Nick Bosa.
Neither one of those sacks came in the NFC Championship game. Kaz, I don't know if you remember, Nick Bosa was on the big screen 1 time, and it was because he got cleated.
He got straight up locked down. I know it wasn't even a question. I mean,
It wasn't even a question.
And it's funny because that's just one of those things where I don't think people still understand how talented Lane Johnson really is. I mean, we know he's the greatest right tackle in football. We all know that, but it's bar none. It's insane. When I heard about Nick Bosa and what he was supposed to do from all my San Fran friends and stuff, I'm like, huh?
Man,
I'm like, wait a minute, wait. Who does he have? Who is he compared to who we? Don't get me wrong. This is no discredit to Nick Bosa. He's a dog. I ain't gonna discredit him. But what I'm gonna say is this: there's just some players in the league right now they're on a whole nother level. And just like our center is one of those guys, our right tackle is not a sweat at all when it comes to that dude. Not a sweat at all. Now, I'm not saying Nick Bosa can't maybe get 1 or 2 pressures or what it may be, but we're too complete in the backfield with Jalen Hurts under center, and Lane Johnson's got an endless tank as long as he's healthy. He's not gonna get tired out. It's wraps. Nick Bosa's not even on the radar for me right now. He never will be as long as Lane's there. So Lane's healthy. I don't even want to even talk about Nick Bosa, to be honest.
But Kaz, let me tell you the exact words and phrase that's going through Shaun and Toddy's head. They said,
Clip it.
Well, we have Chase Young. Chase Young was in the division. 4 games, 7 tackles, 3 sacks.
Was he playing next to Nick Bosa?
I'm just saying, Chase Young was there. So we mentioned the CMC stats, and he wasn't a Niner. I'm just letting you guys know. This is a career long of bad production.
We have the Monstars. You're rating a bunch of individual stats.
He was playing alongside Montez Sweat, who's no joke, doing his thing there in Chicago. So he's not on the same caliber as Nick Bosa, but Chase Young, another one. We've seen this dude how many times in Philadelphia? I mean, it's one of those. I'm sleeping on it.
No.
I am. So I am. And you can clip that if you want. I'm not worried about it, man, because at the end of the day,
they're all getting
Jalen Hurts under center is going to find a way, especially with that read option, They're gonna bite, and you know what's gonna happen. You know what's coming. So again, I expected a couple pressures here and there, but this ain't gonna be like what y'all think it is. It ain't gonna be the sack show and strip sacks, and especially if we get DeAndre Swift involved. If we get DeAndre Swift involved, it's wraps right there because he can run he can run anywhere between the tackles, outside the tackles, misdirection. I mean, there's nothing I'm seeing on that defensive front when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers that's telling me we're in trouble. And again, feel free to clip that. Feel free to clip that. I am more than confident.
Well, unfortunately, Kevin's the one who does social, so I don't know if that's going to get clipped.
No.
But go ahead, Kevin. Please finish your thoughts.
So, I'm going to give everybody what they want. Kev, give us a score. Give us your prediction. 38-7 Eagles. I've been telling you guys all season, Brock Purdy's going to wake up in fucking cold sweat and see Hassan Reddick's face mask. He is, hey man, PTSD is a real thing. PTSD is a real thing. That dude it's gonna take one time for Purdy to get rocked, and you guys are gonna be playing from behind. And we all know Mr. Irrelevant turns back into a pumpkin when you guys are behind. So I'm gonna go 38-7 Philadelphia Eagles.
All righty. Well,
We should let Kev go last.
Well, I tried, but Toddy wanted to hear what he had to say. But anyways, Uncle Manny saying someone did their homework, Kev. He certainly did with all those individual stats. Mr. Kevin Dance Sr. says time, temperature, and weather might be a factor. And Eagles just squeezed by the last 2 weeks. Wishful thinking. He has been solid all this time to fold to the Pigeons, is what Kevin's dad says. Kevin's dad is a noted 49ers fan. So that context is really important. Toddy, go ahead and say what you got to say. I'll be right back.
Well, we all know last year pretty much how the game started. It all started with a missed catch that was caught by Devontae Smith. Ball hit the ground, obviously. Got a little bit of help. I get it. You're at home. Should have challenged the play. That's neither here nor there. And then that led to their first touchdown. And then ultimately ended up with a, Brock Purdy ends up tearing the UCL. Hassan Reddick. Game's pretty much over after that. I recall Jalen Hurts only throwing for like 121 yards against this team last year. And him pretty much being under duress. And we were kind of just making him, getting him outside of the pocket, forcing him, to make throws on the run. And it was working for the most part. And then, obviously Brock Purdy ends up, getting knocked out of the game. And we really don't have an offense. Like we had Josh Johnson, who eventually also got knocked out of the game, which was actually insane. And we didn't really have a quarterback the entire game. We've seen what Purdy is capable of doing. I believe his numbers are 19-6, if I'm not mistaken. But ultimately, I mean, I have to rock with Debo and what Ayuk were saying. Pretty much the separation will be there on the outside for Purdy and Ayuk. I don't think anybody on the Eagles can guard those boys. And I think the middle of the field is going to be wide open. We've seen teams like the Commanders put up 28 plus on them. I don't think scoring is going to be a problem for this 49er team, just given all the weapons that we have. Christian McCaffrey is going to get going early. I feel like that's going to be a main key point for him to get going early in the run game, which I'm fairly confident in. Kevin was pointing out, all of the stats about, or Kaz and Kevin were basically saying, Nick Bosa is not something to sweat about. Okay, well, now he has Chase Young on the other side of the end. And, Nick Bosa, I don't know if you know this, he won Defensive Player of the Year last year. And we have a guy like Chase Young on the opposite end. Same D-line. Now, I get you're saying, oh, Montez Sweat. Yeah, Montez Sweat ain't nothing to joke about. Nothing. He is one of the top D tackles in this league. He ain't no Nick Bosa. he ain't no Nick Bosa. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And Y'all remember Jaevon Hargrave? He was on your team last year. Oh, yeah, he's on the D-line now this week. So ultimately, I feel like havoc is going to be caused for Jalen Hurts. Now, I'm not saying that, those boys – I feel the only thing what I'm worried about is our secondary, because obviously we have Fufungu's out, torn ACL. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith those boys are nothing to joke with. Now, I was already talking about how I feel like our wide receivers are going to be able to get open at will. These boys will be able to get open. Now, the only thing I'm saying is with Jalen Hurts is I don't know. I think he's going to be under duress, similar to what he was last year. And I feel like those boys in Nick Bosa and Chase Young are going to be able to bend the outside. So Hurts he's not going to be able to just run outside. We're going to try and keep him inside of the pocket. So all of his scrambles will be not on the outside. He'll have to step up in the pocket and try to, have his scrambles that way. Both teams are stacked. I'm very confident in our play calling. Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to scheme the best game possible for Brock Purdy. I think he's going to be comfortable. It was just such a fluke thing to kind of just happen on the very first drive. I think he's going to be comfortable. I think we'll look pretty dominant in the pass game because the run game is going to be pretty solid for us, and we're going to get everything going. I think the Niners win, man. And I think if the Niners get up don't let the Niners get up by 10 points. And we ain't finna just give up the lead and just, oh yeah, we're up 10 points. Nah. We get up 10, it's a wrap. You could call it a quit. We get up by 10. We get up by double digits, game's over.
What's the final score?
Together. Final score of the game, I'll say Niners 34, Eagles 24. We won by 10.
Ooh, I like it. I wanted to go that bold, but I couldn't.
Oh, I
go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, before you go, Shaun, I have to respond. So, Toddy, you said it was a fluke. Are there multiple flukes in the game, or is a fluke kind of like a one-time thing?
A one-time thing. He tore his UCL.
Incorrect. So, the third-string tight end tried to guard Hassan Reddick. Brock Purdy got hurt. The third-string tight end tried to guard Hassan Reddick, and Johnson got hurt. So, is it a fluke, or is it the offensive guru scheme? That's all I had to say.
Yeah. How many quarterbacks have torn their UCL in a game?
Bro, I mean, if the
like
coach is going to put the practice squad guy on one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, you could have done a better job, Tony.
Yeah, we tried to chip Hassan Reddick, which wasn't a smart idea. I get it.
By the way, Shaun, before you go, I did realize I didn't give an actual score prediction. I said Birds by 6. After further thought, I would say 20-26 Philadelphia. That's where I'm sitting at. So just wanted to put that out there. 20-26 Philadelphia. And that's what I'm scared of, because I'm like, man, if it's going to be weather dependent. And I mean, if it's a nice day in Philly, I mean, it's getting chilly out there, but it's not a big deal. I mean, these guys can handle that.
Last year.
But yeah, if it's a nice day in Philly, expect a lot of points to be scored, but I think it's going to be a real good game, very tight for the most part. But 20-26. So just wanted to put that out there before you go. So.
Take the over in this game if you like to bet.
I appreciate that, Kaz, because I actually broke out the handy dandy notebook here and I was getting everyone's predictions on record. So I was going to circle back with you and thank you for reading my mind. And so I'll just make it even.
Get messed up on Debo. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. And so I'm going to make it even because right now it's 2-1 Eagles, and I'll just even it out and I'll make it 2-2, and Garry can be the deciding factor on this one with his unbiased opinion. But I'm going to go 34-30 San Francisco. I got the same final score for the Niners as Jaevon, but I got the Eagles scoring 30 points. I thought about 34-24 Jaevon, but I'm going to give the Eagles some respect. They are the best team in the NFL right now. So I'm going 34-30 San Francisco.
Shaun, what's your reasoning, man? You threw the jersey on, everything. Come on now. We need some reasoning right now.
Is that an Armstead jersey?
Yeah.
It is.
You'll see him. You'll see him do a sack celebration. You'll see him.
Yeah, so Garry got me there because I was just about to get into the whole diatribe. So I I heard a lot about Nick Bosa, understandable, as Jaevon said, reigning defensive player of the year. I heard about Chase Young because since the 49ers acquired Chase Young, they have 15 sacks through the first 3 games since they acquired Chase Young.
Oh.
Nick Bosa is averaging 1.5 sacks
don't let them
per
come out and say Lane Johnson ain't playing. Don't let them come out and say he's not playing. It's over.
So not only are the 49ers racking up the sacks, but Nick Bosa is seeing an increase. And also I heard Javon Hargrave because, Javon Hargrave is going to be going for his revenge game, you could say, just against his former team and wanting to hand his former team an L in their home stadium. Yes, exactly, Jaevon. But, I had to get up. I had to go open the closet, put on the Eric Armstead jersey. Pleasant Grove in Sacramento, California's finest. Eric Armstead. He stays hungry. You can't. I want to rub my belly, but then I don't want to get away from the microphone. Eric Armstead stays hungry. And the addition of Chase Young not only helps a Nick Bosa and a Javon Hargrave and a Randy Gregory, who we haven't even been talking about, but he knocked Jason Peters' 40-something-year-old ass on his ass this past week on Thanksgiving.
Didn't bring up the numbers because Randy Gregory played it against him in Division 2, so I don't know. We got to.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to hear Randy Gregory's stat for Cowboy against the Eagles. But nevertheless, we hear all of those names. I'm really going to be looking forward to Eric Armstead getting his because he is the guy who flies under the radar constantly. But if you guys recall, the 49ers had to decide between re-signing Eric Armstead or DeForest Buckner. And they chose to keep Armstead and trade DeForest Buckner to Indianapolis. That's for a reason. He is a beast. I know Jaevon mentioned Hufanga and him being out. That's obviously devastating, but let's not forget about Freddie. Probably, arguably, Kaz, I think you even said this yourself last time we had you on, best linebacker in the NFL in Fred Warner, or at least top 3, top 5. And so I'm really confident with that 49ers defense. But
Travarius Ward he's shutting down AJ Brown. I don't know because we haven't really seen he shut down DK. That's all I'm saying. Man.
But I heard Kevin mention AJ Brown's tweet where AJ Brown said, okay, it's time to troll Debo. He gives everyone permission to troll Debo. And Debo responded by saying, man, leave me alone. And all the talk about Hassan Reddick. Kaz, basically every single week since January, Kevin has been reminding us about Hassan Reddick and our third string tight end and how Brock Purdy tore his UCL. And we see a recent comment from Hassan Reddick where he says, talk is cheap. They get to come back in the link. It was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what ifs, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that shit up, and prove it again. Because, Debo did get tired of talking about it throughout the offseason. But we want to talk about what the 49ers have been saying all offseason. Let's take a look at the receipts of what the Eagles have been saying all season. That same guy, Hassan Reddick, opens up on the turf problems in the Super Bowl, says, it was the worst field that I've ever played on. Brandon Graham said that the Chiefs O-line were blessed to face the Eagles on a slippery turf in the Super Bowl. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he says, run that ball back on legit grass. The D-line smashed the O-line. I'm sorry. Even Dallas Goedert, let's bring it to offense. He said, man, the sod father did not do good, but he knew what he was doing. All I can say is it was a great game till the end. If the field was better, if we were playing on turf, I'd take us 10 times out of 10. But I have to say that. So I guess the 49ers weren't the only ones crying all offseason, all boo-hooing. And so, Kaz, since Kevin is restarting his router, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because all I've been hearing about the offseason is the 49ers boo-hoo and saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. But it looks like the Eagles were doing the damn same thing.
That's personal.
All right, good. I'm glad you asked me that question because I've been prepared for this. Good. There's a difference, okay? There's a difference. First and foremost, I'll say this. Every Philadelphia Eagles player that has spoken about the Super Bowl, fresh, within the last 24 hours of when the Super Bowl ended, all the way up until, the draft, the offseason, all that good stuff, they have given the Kansas City Chiefs their stripes. They give them all credit. They've said, you know what, they've made those comments. Very
except
true.
Juju.
They made, Well, he out here making TikTok. He was doing the most making them TikToks. Yeah, he went a little too far with it. But all the players that have given respect 110% to the Kansas City Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl. They played on the same field. They also made comments about that. For the most part, these players are also asked these questions about the field, and I mean, you can respond one of two ways. You can make it a major excuse and say, if yada yada, we had it on grass, we would have won. Or you can do what I feel we did. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, it sucked. And for the most part, we were slipping and sliding around. And if it was on grass, I do think that it would have been a different result. That is not the same way that Debo and Robbie Gould and CMC and whoever in who was it? Your guys' safety. No, you got Ayuk, and then there was one more Ward. Jimmy, was it Jimmy? Not Jimmy Ward. Was it?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Ward.
Yeah,
he's
Jimmy Ward.
in Houston now.
Yeah, because it wasn't for Davis. And I made a video on it. Responded to everything they were saying. I'm like, are you serious, man? I'm like, come on, bro. Like, it's one thing to say, damn, it was tough to play in Philadelphia, and we were a great team when we were 14-3. We rolled through New York Giants. We sat our starters in multiple games in the fourth quarter. We're doing the opposite of what we're doing now. Now we're having a lot of tough battles and winning games. Last year we were a problem. And then you guys are going to show up in Philadelphia, which I was at that game as well, and there was not a person sitting on their seat the entire time. It was so loud. It reminded me of a college game. I mean, it was nuts. And Trent getting ejected, Brock, getting the injury, being out for the game. And you're going against, again, at the time, the best team in the league. Give some credit, and that's where I got a sour taste from a lot of these guys. What's crazy was one of the people that really shocked me was when Robbie Gould stepped in and said what he said. He's like, I think that the Jalen Hurts is going to have a tough time. I mean, just get him out of the pocket and it's going to be fine. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts puts on a historic performance in the Super Bowl through the air, completely proving Robbie Gould wrong. So I think there's just levels to it personally. Now, call me a little bit biased. I'm going to defend my guys just like you guys defend your guys. It's fine. But I'm not going to sit there and say that the way Debo was acting on socials and everywhere, he was on multiple interviews. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Garbage. I'm like, I can't name one Eagle player that was really, besides Chauncey was talking mad shit, but I can't really name one Eagles player that was really attacking, individuals or just, discrediting the 49ers or the Chiefs when we even lost the way that they were doing us after we beat you guys in Philadelphia. So I think there's levels to it. There is going to be some grit. There is going to be a little bit of pettiness. Even the tweet from AJ Brown, who they're all friends at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think they're cool.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, they follow each other and stuff. But even the tweet where it's like, I give everybody permission to poke fun at Debo. It's a little bit of a chirping, but it's not actual animosity. Now, I don't know who exactly, but Trent Williams is going to have a problem with somebody. And
it's going to be
it's going to be crazy. So I just think that the trash talk with certain players was a little excessive, more so on the 49ers side than it was, or the excuses, I should say, than it was coming from the Philadelphia Eagles players' mouths when it came to the Super Bowl and slipping around and all that good stuff. So I just think there's levels to it. Again, call me biased, but the Niners. If I think I made a tweet. I said in February, whenever after Super Bowl, I go, man, if my players on my team was talking like this, I'd be like, yo, man, chill it out, man. I said, I don't want to see you look so sour, Debo. Like, I hope AJ Brown never goes to those depths. And that's how I felt. So maybe again I'm biased, but it just seemed like the Niners players were a little bit more salty than any of the salt that the Eagles were spewing out after the Super Bowl.
That's fair. And from the 49ers perspective, a lot of us fans, and I would assume the players as well, just really felt like we never even had a shot.
Had a chance.
Like,
Never
yeah,
had a chance.
like what Kevin would argue is, okay, don't put your third string tight end on Hassan Reddick. Like
38-7.
And that's all we've been hearing for a long time. And Kevin, I'm gonna bring you back in here on the stage. You got us, Kevin? You tap back in?
Yes, sir. I am good. Can you guys hear me?
All right. Yep, we got you. I was just making sure because I saw that you had to reboot again, but just making sure. Welcome back, Kevin. But yeah, Kaz, like we just felt like we never even got a shot, and like regardless of like how it happened, The point is that our quarterback went out at the beginning of the game and we never even had a shot. And like, yeah, you could say what you want about Josh Johnson, but at that point, Brock Purdy was already our third string quarterback. Like that doesn't often happen. And that was such a crazy occurrence to have a third string quarterback and then a fourth string quarterback go down all in the course of one season, so much so that the NFL changed the rules to now you're allowed to have an emergency quarterback. And so we just felt like we didn't get a shot. And the thing I always said is the Eagles very well could have won. They could have been the better team easily. But to say that like, oh, the Eagles controlled the entire game, they dominated, blah, 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 blah. It's just hard for us 49ers to accept that, 49ers fans to accept that just because we feel like we never really got a true shot. And so, so I'll pass it over to Garry next because, Garry, you're the only one who's unbiased on this panel. And right now we're at a stalemate, 2-2. And so where are you leaning in this prediction?
Man, I feel like
he is leading us in NFL picks. Garry is the man when it comes to picks.
Thank you, kid, for the flowers right there. Man, I just been sitting here watching, Shaun and Vaughn versus Kevin and Kaz over here. A 2-on-2 little Niners, Philadelphia pre-showdown. I've been liking hearing I feel like the judge right now. I'm hearing both sides. I'm about to pick what side right now.
What is your closing
verdict?
Right, what's the verdict on this one right here? To be honest with you guys laid it out perfectly. Like when Shaun and Vaughn mentioned all the superstars they got, and Kevin Kaz mentioned all the superstars they got. This is really all-star teams on both sides, to be honest with you, clashing up to see who's going to be having one leg up going into NFC playoffs here, right, going towards the end. This is a good measuring stick for both teams, and I think it's going to be a tough one. And I was kind of shocked to see the Niners favorite in Philadelphia. I just felt that's kind of a little bit disrespect to Philadelphia, just because I'm like, at home, you should, and usually when there's two good teams playing, you usually go with the home team. So I'm going to have to go against Vegas here, and I'm going to go with the Eagles. And the reason I'm going to go with the Eagles, I'm going to go 24-21 just for the weather. I think it's going to be a little low scoring. It's going to be defensive battle in the trenches. These type of games always come down, like you guys have been mentioning, all the people, which is so great to hear because most shows will probably go through, all the guys on the outside, all the wide receivers, all the quarterback play and things of that nature. But you guys just been going back and forth on line play, back and forth, like who's going to be getting who's going to be getting who. So that's been really cool to see. But I really just think that the Eagles, at the end of the day, when there's a close call like this, guys, I'm just going to lean on the better quarterback. And the better quarterback is easily right now Jalen Hurts. He has proven it time and time again in terms of clutch performances against big teams and big play. Like I was preaching at the beginning of the year to Kev, as he knows, I was asking, all right, Kev, I wanted to see Jalen Hurts win in different ways. As Kaz mentioned, you guys were killing everyone last year, sending people out in the fourth quarter. This year, we've been seeing clutch performances left and right from Jalen Hurts. And not to say Brock Purdy hasn't been doing good. We already know all the stats. I think he leads all QBs in QBR still. His passing rating is great. All statistical category, he's been good. He's been way better than Jimmy G was, to be honest with you. When you had Jimmy G, you still felt like you had you feel like you were still but you was a little chained a little bit to the ground. Like you wasn't able to fly high as you guys want to. And now you guys feel like a little bit more opened up, a little bit more belief, but I still haven't seen that it factor when Mr. Brock Purdy's down. Is he going to be able, if he's down 10 going to the fourth, down a touchdown versus the Eagles going to the fourth quarter, is he going to be able to come back and make the winning clutch plays? So I just feel like it's going to be a close game. I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to have the ball last 2-minute drill. And they're going to go put a field goal up for the win, 24-21 Eagles.
Big Duke Jake.
All right. That's very fair because, as Toddy mentioned earlier, the 59-yarder by Jake Elliott was just ridiculous at the end of regulation this past week. And as we know, the 49ers, they lost a game earlier this season in Cleveland when their kicker couldn't get the kick to win the game. And so clutch kickers are extremely important. Go ahead, Garry.
Last thing before we head out to the next topic, I would just want to say, I just hope, because we just have so much little epic little buildup right here. I just hope it's a good game. Not compared to last year that we talked about the whole time, the playoff game. Like everyone said, hope everyone's healthy and hope they just really get at it. And let's just see, less man standing, because this is about to be a big time showdown. This probably should be one of the most watched games this year. It should be, because the talent level on both sides is about to be epic. So let's see the showdown.
A good game.
You're in for a disappointment, Garry. It's about to be a dog walk.
All right. Well, anyways, Kev said 38-6 Eagles. Kevin is whatever.
No,
38 to
7.
6?
I didn't say you missed a field goal. I said 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. 38-7. That's a big difference. Thank you.
Goddamn.
I'm glad that you clarified that. Anyway, so we heard from one Singh. Now let's hear from another. Cowboys fan Manny Singh says, "This is painful for me, but, quote, let's go Niners. I got 28-24 49ers win." So now I
That's
guess
the
it's at
Cowboys
3-3.
fan
And
You can't have a
back.
Cowboys fan.
That's sad, man.
Manny
You
what he
can't
thinks
be
could happen.
you can't be a Cowboys fan and cheer for the Niners, bro. I mean, they break your heart every season. Like that's
No,
damn.
but
Hey,
hate you
Kev,
guys.
they
Hate you guys
really
a
hate
little
us,
more.
man.
Division still.
Man, they
Yeah,
really
yeah.
hate us, man. They
pure
really hate
hatred.
us. They really hate us.
I thought that was hilarious, and I wish that
Just
I
pick
had
your
this
poison,
loaded
that
up,
one.
but yeah, it
Literally.
is, and I wish I had this loaded up so I could put it on the whole screen, but I don't got time for that, so I'll just show you guys on my phone. Saw this earlier on Twitter. This is 49ers and Cowboys fans for the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Basically, like Bloods and Crips
Think
are
Uncle
united
Buster.
because
Uh-huh.
in our hate for the Eagles, and so
Yeah.
I guess we shall see. But as far as the official panel goes, it's 3-2 Eagles, and we will circle back to this next week. Kaz, I'll fill you in on something I said to Kevin earlier in our group chat when he mentioned this morning that he wanted to bring you on, so then it could be 2 versus 2, and so Toddy and I weren't ganging up on him. I said, Kevin, you're very strategic because you're choosing to have Kaz come on before the game because you know better than to have him come on after the game after the 49ers
Now,
win.
yeah, come on.
And so now
what it is.
I guess you might have to come back on to be able to talk your shit.
Yeah, I'll be ready, man. I'll be ready, man. I love the show, man, and appreciate everybody on here. So anytime you guys want to reach out and get me on there, talk some football, especially Eagles, I'm your guy if I ain't got nothing going on. So
Might need to reach out to you next week.
Sean, Toddy, I have a wager for you guys.
Oh, do you? Because you
Yes.
seemed
No,
you seemed
no,
a little
hold on, Sean.
you seemed a little scared on Friday.
No money wager. Jersey
Hold on.
wager?
Yeah, no. So look, for everyone that does not know, I do not live in Sacramento. So at the end of the month, at the end of next month, we'll be doing an in-person show. I wanted to break the news on live. So when the Eagles win, you two have to wear an Eagles jersey the whole podcast. And if the Niners lose, I will wear a Niners jersey the whole
I'm
podcast.
assuming Kevin
that's
will
spicy
supply,
right there.
I'm assuming
Give him one of them Wentz jerseys.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even
Give
worry
him one of
about
them
it.
Wentz
Two Carson
jerseys.
Wentz jerseys. Yep, 2 Carson Wentz jerseys.
You're on.
Wait, so this is a 2-for-1 for Kevin. So if the 49ers win, then only Kevin has to wear a 49ers jersey. But then
I mean, Kevin
if
will
the
be in
49ers
person.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I could post it on Twitter or something. I don't know.
All right, I'll take the bet. I'll take the bet if Kaz is in on this one too.
I've been in worse situations. I went to the Dallas game. What was it? 2 years ago? I don't know.
Was the year y'all got blown out?
The year that we broke the record for the least amount of rushes by a running back in NFL history. We just didn't use our running back. It was that year, and I had to stand on the Dallas Star in the back of the stadium. They have a miniature version of the stadium behind the stadium because Jerry Jones is a nutcase.
It's a practice field, right?
It's like it is, but I'm not even sure if they actually practice on it or I don't know. But it's like
I've seen them do it in Hard Knocks.
Yeah, on game day, like that's just where they have like bands and a bunch of food and stuff. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. It's like probably my favorite stadium. I just wish it wasn't Dallas, but I had to wear a Dak Prescott jersey on that Star, and I was getting straight torched. But I'm a tough guy though. I took it, man. I talk a lot of shit too. So, but yeah, no, I'm in on it, man. He's got you guys on the jerseys if y'all are gonna meet up, and I will post. I got a homie that's got a Niners jersey. I'll just snag it, put it on at work real quick, and probably flip the bird or something like that. But yeah, I'll be in on it, man. It's all good. I like that little friendly wager. So
okay,
all right, I appreciate that, Kaz. All right, so we got Kaz in now. So Toddy and I would have to wear it on the live podcast as well as Kevin. And the stipulation of Kaz is he's got to post it on social media. On Twitter and
tag you guys,
so X and Instagram, exactly. So we could repost it at Stats or Politics on X and at Stats Over Politics on Instagram. Everyone, make sure to check us out there to see all the content that Kevin's putting out there. All right, guys, we just spent an hour talking about the Eagles. It had a lot to do with the 49ers as well, but now it's time to move on here on episode number 64 of Stats Over Politics to Garry's team. The Pittsburgh Steelers that won 16-10 against the Jake Browning-led Bengals. Shout out to Jake Browning from Folsom High School, even Folsom High School getting a little shine nationally this past week. So that was cool to see for us living here in Sacramento. Anyways, Gary, this is your account, so I'm going to toss it to you first. What did you think about the Steelers getting the 16-10 win? Because they put up 424 offensive yards in the first game without Matt Canada.
To be honest with you, as I mentioned last week, a win's a win. Obviously, it's not versus Joe Burrow, but again, a W in the NFL is a W in the NFL. Obviously, I've been saying it all year